Many of the people back home, including his fellow Whigs, mocked him as Spotty Lincoln, a nickname they coined after he failed to persuade the House to approve a resolution criticizing President James Polk for lying to Congress about the exact spot where Mexicans had fired the first shots that started the Mexican War. Lincoln had campaigned for Zachary Taylor in 1848, but once in office, Taylor denied his application to become the Commissioner of the Land Office. Worse still, Taylor died in 1850, elevating to the presidency his vice president, Millard Fillmore, a Whig who did not take Lincoln seriously. By the time Fillmore left office in 1853, Lincoln had to confront the fact that the Whig Party was dying. Its demise left him without a party apparatus to sustain his political future. Dispirited, he turned his attention to reviving his law practice with William Herndon, building it into a highly respected but ultimately not very lucrative firm. His dreams of becoming a great lawyer were crushed when the nationally renowned Edwin Stanton of Ohio dismissed him from the biggest case of his career in 1855. As Lincoln's fortunes dimmed in the 1850s, his longtime Democratic rival, Stephen Douglas, had become a senator for Lincoln's home state of Illinois and a rapidly rising star in national politics. In 1854, Douglas took center stage nationally in drafting and securing passage of the controversial Kansas-Nebraska Act, a law that allowed voters in the territories of Kansas and Nebraska to decide for themselves whether or not to permit slavery within their borders. As violence erupted in Kansas, and President Franklin Pierce ordered the federal government to support pro-slavery forces there, Lincoln did little. Home was no respite. His sagging prospects exacerbated tensions with his wife, Mary Todd, who had great ambitions for him. Seemingly adrift, he read Euclid to sharpen his mind. He worried that he would never make a lasting mark on the world. His friends worried about his sanity. Yet Lincoln's vexation was of a deliberative sort, a pause, albeit forced by circumstance, and not a surrender. His aspirations had not eroded, nor had much of his support for high office. In fact, his development as a serious presidential contender had begun many years earlier, and in 1849 to 1856, Lincoln was not so much reinventing himself as adapting the lessons he had learned over more than 2 decades in politics and law. In every critical phase of his life, including those 7 years, Lincoln followed the same strategy, and it was not to turn completely inward. Besides reading voraciously to learn more about political philosophy, issues, and history of concern to him, he looked to others for guidance on the skills, vision, and strategies he needed in order to achieve his ambitions. Certainly, the books, newspapers, plays, and poetry he read offered him a foundation that went beyond the accumulation of facts and phrases. They filled the vacuum left by the traumatizing absence of his father and the death of his mother when he was 9. An older, wiser Lincoln, who had benefited from years of self-education, noted that a capacity and taste for reading gives access to what has already been discovered by others. It is the key, or one of the keys, to the already solved problems. And not only so, it gives a relish and a facility for successfully pursuing the unsolved ones. Books, unlike people, would never let him down. Yet he also realized that the words he read on the page could tell him only so much. To ascend in the tumultuous world of politics required a different sort of study. Many people who knew Lincoln in his middle to late years spoke of how he read purely for utilitarian purposes, foregoing the pleasures of fiction. Even his study of poetry and drama was in pursuit of mastering the cadence of public speaking and better understanding human nature. Both as a boy and later in his life, Lincoln was intrigued with the founding of the Republic, particularly with stories of the great men who were responsible for